2146 is your SMS line at Metropole TVKE across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Kiage. This is your official sector trends. Now, the question this morning is, how do you deal with hindrances, limitations and setbacks to achieving business success? This often could be mental at times. That is why today we will look into how we can identify and then know how to deal with mental barriers that hinder our goals, achievement and success. We are joined today by John Okonji, who is the Business Growth Consultant at the Business Growth Solutions. John, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Simba. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you around as well. John, let's talk about your mission at Business Growth Solutions. What are you trying to achieve?
Okay, so I am the founder of Business Growth Solutions. It's a company that I formed over 7 years ago. And it's been formed by it's been guided by two things really. One is my positive obsession with mindset, and the other one is to really help business people, especially the ones transitioning from employment into business. So when I transitioned from employment into business, I've been in business 7 years right now, but the first 5 years was hell. I mean, I lost money, I lost friends, things didn't really work out as they should, and I went through this whole process of self-discovery. And in the process of business, developing this company, I said this shouldn't happen to anyone else. Our mantra is to help people move great ideas into profitable business. And really, that's why I formed the company. We do three things: business consultancy, mentorship, and business coaching.
Interesting how you say that when you moved from employment into business, you're saying it was hell. Can we get that hell broken down? And is that what most people go through during this transition?
Yeah. So and we could go on and on about it, but really the thing is, when I stepped out, first of all, my mindset, because I've been in the corporate for close to 13 years.
Yes.
I've been in operations and marketing, and when I stepped out into entrepreneurship, I went in with the corporate mindset into an entrepreneurial macro system, and that really messed me up, because the entrepreneurial field and the corporate field, strong as they are in their own ways, they don't quite mesh together. So, for instance, one of the things in the corporate, I used to expect things to be done for me. I mean, there was a HR manager, there's the payroll manager, there's a finance manager. You get out into entrepreneurship, you don't have these things. So what happens is, more often than not, you have to do a lot of the stuff by yourself. One of the things I did when I stepped out was to develop an application. Apps were really hot at the time, and I thought, okay, I mean, I was so good at the corporate, I can make a lot of money off of this. I actually sunk in 4 million shillings, Simba, and I didn't get any return on that app. And that was really just one of the mistakes I made when I stepped out.
Is it possible that there is sort of like a framework that people would use during this transition? Is that what you're trying to develop?
Oh yeah, definitely. And what I train from is really more from my experience. And of course, I've also got some academic, I'd say, experience in that as well. But it's really an experiential training. So
yes.
The process which I follow is, initially, I go in as a consultant if it's for companies, but if it's for a group of individuals, we start off with the training. Then afterwards, you go into the mentorship. The mentorship is to ensure that what I've trained you in, I can hold you accountable to. Because I realized a lot of people are very good in the class, very good in academics, but action, which is the cure-all, is where they stumble. And then thereafter, I also have the coaching. And the coaching is when I help Simba to be the best version of himself in business.
Yes.
So, very specific, I do have a training called ROAD. ROAD is an acronym for Reflect, Organize, Act, and Deliver. And that's the process that you're talking about. That's a process that I've put together to help people transition safely into business.
John, it's interesting that you will say that you are training people transition into business. Would you say that our market has what you like to call similarities in the hindrances that would sort of limit this proper transition and success in business?
Oh yeah, definitely. By virtue of just being human, whether we're black, white, brown, yellow, whichever geographical location we are in,
yes,
we are actually go through the same blockages, same challenges. So you're right. I mean, it's actually, across the board.
What would you say are the top hindrances that would sort of stop entrepreneurs from succeeding in business? And I want us to talk from this perspective, the mental hindrances, because when it comes to coaching, that's exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve. Change somebody's mindset that can actually get to recognize the opportunities. What are they, John?
Absolutely. But I think, first of all, just a background in terms of mindset.
Yes.
I'm really obsessed with not only the mind, but the brain. Those two things are different. And, I really look at the science behind that. Having a lot of NLP and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming and cognitive behavior theory, really studied that so that I can be able to help people transition effectively. Now, when it comes to the mind, I don't want to go into the technical details, but the four top things that I've been able to eliminate. One of them is indoctrination. I'll talk a bit about that. The second one is love. The third one is fear. And the fourth one is ingratitude. So, I mean, I can quickly go through them, but when you talk about indoctrination, what's indoctrination? Between the ages of 0 to 7 years old, when we develop our personalities, our attitudes, our core beliefs, that time, the three areas that really influence that are religion, parenting, and education. And a lot of the stuff that we adopt based on that determine our mindset. We might be told you can or cannot do it because you're too short or tall or black or white or fat or thin. And we end up believing these things that we've been told. And that's really under indoctrination. And there are ways of turning that around so that they work for you. We don't have to believe the story that we've been told since we're 0 to 7 years old. We can actually change that through a set of rituals. And some of that is what we go through in Road.
Yes.
The second one is love. We step out in business. A lot of us, by the way, we're not following our dreams. A lot of us are not following the big things that we want to do. A lot of us shelved the dreams we had as children, even as adults. Why? Because we said, this is very typical, especially for people who are married and have children. We opt not to follow our dreams for the fear that they might fail, and then our spouse or children might suffer in the process. And that's what I call love. And so you're protecting them by not stepping out. You'd rather stay in your comfort zone. The third one is fear of failure. But, from my experience, what's success? Success is trying 10 times and failing 9 times. But a lot of us, because of fear to fail, we go like, no, we don't want to try it. And that's really the third mental barrier. The fourth one is what I call ingratitude.
Yes.
Simba, right now, if you're looking at Facebook and Instagram and Apple, think about all the biggest companies in the world. They have one common factor that makes them successful.
Yes.
And that's creativity. And where does creativity come from? Creativity comes from empathy. If you're able to understand what your customer is going through, what they need, then you're able to develop that unique product that can be able to provide a solution to their problems. But if you're not creative, you'll just be in business to make money, and then you're not going to be here tomorrow. So, but you can only get empathy from a point of gratitude, and if I'm always complaining about the government, about my spouse, about myself, about Simba, about whoever, justified as that may be, then that really blocks my creativity. So let me give you an example. The moment that you're grateful, what happens? The moment I am grateful for the air around me, for this office space, for this interview, for my health, the moment I'm grateful, then psychologically in my mind, I get present. I start, and my presence, then that creates awareness, that gives me greater focus. And when I have focus, then I'm able to then have empathy.
Yes.
I'm able to look at Simba in terms of why is he behaving the way he is, possibly because of what he's been through rather than about me. And the easiest hack to developing empathy and focus and awareness and all these beautiful words I've talked about is to reduce time on this thing. We've got to reduce time on the phone, because the more we're distracted, the less empathy we have. And
yes.
Ironically, ultimately, the less creativity we have. And then we're not able to connect with our customer, and that creates a blockage in terms of the products that we can develop. So those are the 4 mental blockages that I've picked out. 1 is indoctrination,
yes.
2, love, 3 is fear, and 4 is ingratitude.
Jan, an interesting conversation on exactly going through some of these top 4 mental hindrances that actually stop somebody from becoming a perfect entrepreneur. But now somebody's going to ask you, Jan, therefore, I mean, there are these 4, fine, and they're quite understood now. But how do you identify and discern that this is just a mental hindrance and I need to work on it?
Okay. Yeah, good. I mean, first of all, the first step for me was self-awareness. And that's what I'll tell anyone, especially as an entrepreneur. The biggest tool you can have in your arsenal as an entrepreneur is self-awareness. As an entrepreneur, especially in the social media age, it's very dangerous. We should be careful. You're not Beyonce, you're not Jay-Z, you're Simba, you're Jan. You're actually being aware of who you are and the specific gift you have, and then focusing on that skill and gift and growing it for your unique niche market. That's where your success lies. So in the process of my self-awareness journey, I stumbled upon some of these shortfalls that I had, some of these blind sides that I had. And I noticed that they were common amongst a lot of entrepreneurs. I mentor, train, coach, or close to 100 entrepreneurs every year. And I've been able to develop these unique common factors amongst them. That's how I came across that. Coupled, of course, with my study of NLP and CBT, I was able to understand how the brain, especially the subconscious, lies to us and puts us in that space of relative safety and comfort so that we don't step out and become successful, whether not only in business, but in health, in finances, in relationships. So it's really quite across the board. But yes, definitely business is not exempt from that.
Yes. All right, John, somebody listening to you this morning will say, well, when it comes to business coaching and mentorship, is there a timeline that you put on it? Because if I would want now to step out of this corporate world and start my business and become an entrepreneur, is there a timeline that you'll say, well, I think, Simba, because I've had you for what, 2 weeks, 3 months, six weeks, I think now you're ready, you're equipped yourself with some of the things that you need to step out into the entrepreneur world. Is there a timeline that you put on it?
Well, yes and no. So let me just be very specific around this.
Yes.
I have a lot of people saying, John, is this the right time to step out? Is this the right time to do business? And I usually have two questions. The first one is, why do you want to step out? If you want to step out to sustain your income, to pay your rent, then that's a very dangerous sign, because you won't survive. You won't survive. The reason that we are in business is to provide solutions to people, right? There's a saying Elon Musk has, that the world pays you in proportion to the solution you provide, right? So the greater your solution to the greater number of people, then the more payment you get. But if you're in business for yourself, yes, you will gain a level of success, but you won't really survive. The second thing that I usually tell them is that you have to ask me whether you have to step out. Means you're not ready. I mean, think about the things you're most passionate about. You don't usually ask people if you should get married, if you should get a child, you just know within your gut that it's the time. And that's what I tell a lot of entrepreneurs. The more they can lean on their gut, on their faith, on their instinct, as opposed to logic and academic know-how, the greater they are for business. So yes, you could think about timeline in terms of, we could get into timeline when we look at the structures and the systems and the processes, but that's when Simba is already in business.
Yes.
Then we talk about which levels, at what point are we scaling, at what point are we growing, at what point are we looking for investment. Let's talk about timeline there. But if I'm out here, I just have an idea, and I'm looking for a time, and I come to Jan, that's a danger sign. You don't need to ask me or anyone out there to move. Just follow your gut instinct, and you'll know that this is the time, or alternatively, I'm not cut out for this.
Pretty much, John. As we clear this conversation this morning, in 2 minutes, if you may, you mentioned something called mentorship. Do you believe that most people really understand why you need a mentor? And what sort of focus do you give mentorship, especially during this transitional period from corporate to entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so definitely a lot of people might not see the need for a mentor, but mentorship is key.
Yes.
I mean, you can Google it, don't take my word for it, but your chances of success in business within the first 3 years once you have a mentor, are increased by 73%. So having a mentor and who is a mentor? A mentor is somebody who is where you want to be. So if you want to be a millionaire, stop hanging around the losers, because you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. Hang out with the people who are where you want to be.
Yes.
If you want to be if you want to be in manufacturing, if you want to be in the tech business, if you want to be in the startup business, wherever, hang out with the person who you want. who is where you want to be. Now, the other thing is, who is a mentor? A mentor is not somebody who creates Simba in his image. A good mentor helps Simba to be the best version of Simba's self. So it's not about me making you like me, it's about me bringing out the best in you. And this is very crucial for people who want to be in business and not make the mistakes I made, for instance, in my first years in business.
Pretty much. John Okonji, Business Growth Consultant, BGS Solutions. Thank you very much for taking your time this morning to speak to us. It's quite an invaluable conversation that we've had this morning, sir.
Thank you, Simba.
Anytime. So you want to get to him, you know what to do. Write to us 20146 on your SMS line and at Metropole TVKE across all your social media platforms. We take a short break here on a Business Am.